Hello, welcome to the Culture Program, Part 5. This Part 5 are about books and magazines. Don't miss out our news and our extra program, the Culture Program, the Music Basic lesson, on our YouTube channel or on our homepage. Book subject, comic. About comic in books, as a book title. How are we to enjoy the book? Do we need to laugh in every page? Or have a smile afterwards? What demands do we have on the literature books we are reading? Does the entire book include a big laugh when we have read the book to the end? There we need to follow in the entire book to understand the whole picture, as we could say as a word language. Do you have a hard time to read comic books? Is it easier for you to appreciate comic magazines if you have a hard time to read the book literature, or have too much that you want the book to be about when it comes to books in comic? There you could see the picture in the magazines that also tells a story besides to read the comic magazines. How the comic magazines want you as a reader to be in just that comic magazines for this moment you are reading. That the author could also describe with pictures and literature. How could it be so we have too much demands on our reading? Do we want a reward when we have bought our literature comic book or magazine we are reading? There we want that our feelings are satisfied when we read. How do you think about a comic for a subject to discuss? Their comic could be on so many different terms. To mention a couple of these comic subjects, we have stand-up, television program, book literature, audiobooks, radio, literature magazine, television DVD movies, television DVD series. How do you prefer to have your comic story? When you listen to a story? When could you feel you enjoy a comic story or a literature in this subject we mentioned? We want you to stay as an audience for culture worker and culture industry. How do you think about how the comic is when you in the audience are an audience to comic in literature? There is different comic. There is dry comic. There is comic when people tells you a story and you feel bad about it, but you laugh together with other humans that have tell you the story, that you laugh together afterwards. Don't have a rush when you read a comic. Take a minute or two before you read and relax. Think also to how you take comic in to you, and also what is a comic story for you in the entire comic subject. There we have a different view on what a comic story is in literature or in pictures. There we could appreciate comic as a subject in different kind of terms to appreciate. The subject, drama, to be a part of a story in the book that is about a story to remind on our own lives. Drama story could be about a love story that have recently or for a long time ago a couple have found each other to spend time together, to be a couple and not two people that meet each other and spend time sharing their day with each others. There these two people could found more than only enjoy their time together and spend time together. It could also be that these two people have more in common now than they had before. These two people could share now love if there was a spark that turned on at these two people. These people could now be in love and move in together. There is other terms a drama in a book or in a magazine could be about. Drama is a story to mention their love, feelings and people could be involved. Their emotions could be close and also far away. When we read literature, the books is not inspired through a real life story. The books that is a real life story have that written in the literature. To be in the book that is about science fiction could be a complete different story to be a part of. There you need to have a head and your mind as free for options to be a part of. Their science fiction could be about spaceships, things that can't happen and is impossible moves to do in real life. There you also need to remind yourself that these things we have read about is only a science fiction subject in a book. There we need to reset our mind when we return to reality. That the book in science fiction is only a story that not is in real life. There we have our day as regular after the book is read. If you read a book with action, remind yourself, even if it stands in the book, some of this literature is not to recommend or to try this at home. There is paid stuntmen that do this kind of moves as a work. Also, some of the subjects that is mentioned in an action book is forbidden. To name some of the things or subjects that could be forbidden is guns and drugs. Have you sometime in your life been reading a story that is from a citizen from somewhere in the world? Have you read a story that is about some citizen that have been famous in their subject and also could be famous now? Their biography have been released with a story that is told by the human that have done this explore and practice. Or it could also be some people that have done explore adventure that you can read in the books. Explore as be the first to have climbed a mountain. Book and literature subject documentary. To read a story about a country that have done well in sport or in other kind of contest. The athletics have a team in their country that the athletics compete with their country dress on. That the country have won gold or did a really great journey in their subject. The journalists do a documentary about how it become a gold medal. In athletic, there are a couple of big tournaments to keep your eyes on. There the team could be followed since day one the practice started to the team is out from the tournament or until the team have win a gold medal. Do you have something in your bookshelf that you could use for daily time? Or do you have your cookbooks in the kitchen? Do you use the books in your food you're eating? Do you use your cookbooks to cook your food? Do you have magazines in your home that you buy from the stores? They're great moves to do when you are cooking more simple food cooking. They're easy food to cook in the weeks. Should be easy to do, even to cook good food in a great time and eat the food as every other days. Do you read magazines about food or cooking? The famous people cook their food and share their food with the audience to the magazines or books. They're the people that is famous cook their food in a different style. Also, their food that these people are cooking, the people often share the food they're cooking in literature, food magazines, and food cookbooks to share with other people as also their audience, to cook their food as the famous people cook their food, as they describe in literature. Are you following magazines that have a head subject that you read about the subject? In magazines that have home and decorative as a head subject, do you follow these magazines and are inspired of what the design architect does in the magazines? The magazine shows pictures of the homes and rooms. Also, the designer explains about the design in the home and rooms. How affected are we to take after something that is good as a design in a room? There we would like to have a similar design. There we buy furniture or renovate old to look like the furniture in the pictures. Also paint in the room to have that color or wallpaper as you wish. How much inflated are we to have a home or room as we would like to if we see something that we can't take our eyes from a design we want and can make the design in reality in our homes? How often could we be in the zone there we want to change our homes to a home we would like to more appreciate in our daily living? We can't change our homes too often, or can we? If we could decorate in our homes with new material, we need to ask this question to ourselves. Are we too much inflated on great designs we see in magazines or in other subjects in magazines? Also books. There we follow what the people do in magazines that we implement in our day or side activity. It's great that magazines do inflate us to guide us in our homes to a design we like or in other subjects we take after. How these people do and we do the same or similar as these people in the magazines describe. Do remember, if you are more people in your home to decide, ask the people for their opinion. If you do a move that is described in a magazine, think before, are you able to do this move? Think, is it your first time to do this? Don't hurt yourself if you try something new. Also to think about, don't become addicted that you need to do something only because it stands in the magazine or the pictures of the home and room are great. You can't do everything in the magazines. Think also about your wallet. There is more things to do. Have space than only our head subject we read in literature. How have you seen the magazines as a literature explore? Was the magazine explore when you was in young age that you read children magazine, or was the first magazine you saw in a store when you was a tourist to a country that the magazine was in the store's bookshelves? How do you explore all the magazines that is in the store's bookshelf? Is there a subject for you to read? Is there in the store a subject that is for all the citizens, or doesn't it exist in the stores because the stores don't sell these subject magazines? The store is only ordering magazines that the store could sell. We want to take out the book and magazine shapes. The book shapes could be in different sizes. You have smaller books that almost or do fit in the pants that a wallet could be. Do you also have seen the book could be in hard and soft format? The magazines is often in A4 format. Have you been to a book event? There the authors and book publish company are under some days to show their work with their literature, their new books these authors have written to show their audience in the subject literature, in culture practice, and of course, new audience that is, explore this book and literature events. How much are we affected on what the critic tells about the book subject, or about the authors? How do this affect our literature reading, or how we keep to our subject we like so much to read? Do the critic have great things to tell us about literature, or authors have done a great work with the literature these authors do publish for their audience to take a part of? We can only hope from our best that you still are in the culture industry and take part of books and magazines as a great culture subject. The literature industry have a lot to offer to their audience. We want you as a reader to keep follow the literature industry and take part of what the literature industry offer. Do you find a subject to read or an author to follow? Follow us, the Culture Program, at www.goodtrysound.com. We have more to show you there. Until the next time we release a culture part, have a great culture experience.